Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name's Jessica Ward King, also known as the StigmaCrusher. And here in this channel, we deal with mental health and mental illness from the twin perspectives of my personal experience with bipolar II disorder and a PhD in experimental psychology. So if that sounds like your jam, you're in the right place. I'd invite you to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to be notified every week when I post, hit that notifications bell as well. Well, with that, I guess it's time to crush some stigma for today. So last time I posted, we did a video where we talked about the 5 stupidest things people say to myself or other people with mental illness. And that was a long video discussing those tips and tricks that you might take to keep away from saying those things. This time I thought we would go the other side of karma and talk about the 5 nicest or sweetest things people say to people with mental illness, myself included. And the first one I would go with in no particular order is, do you want to talk about it, or would you rather binge Netflix, go for a walk, order a pizza, you name it. Why I love this one. First of all, the offer is there to talk, because sometimes it's so much going on in my head that it's nice just to get it out with somebody who's safe, who can help maybe constructively guide a conversation, and most importantly, just listen and be there. But the other half of this question, I guess it is would you rather? Because sometimes the last thing on earth that I want to do is talk about it. And that can sometimes seem ungrateful. And so if someone offers, would you like to talk about it? It's kind of like, well, yeah, I guess I better bare my soul right now to you. Whereas if you're given the option of something that's more of an escape, something that lets you think about anything else, something that is equally time together, time spent in someone else's company, but doesn't necessarily have to be time talking about what's ailing you. In fact, you know what? It still can be talking. If it's let's have a good old gab fest, that's another one, like a Netflix binge that can get me sometimes, depending on the mood. The second of the 5 sweetest things that somebody can say to me or someone with mental illness is, do you need any support and how can I help? So when living with mental illness, everything seems to be harder. In fact, everything is harder. It can be doing one of those many medical appointments, keeping track of which medical practitioner is where. Oh, it's a whole new appointment. Now you have to bring the list of all your medications and the list of all the things that's ever happened to you in your entire life. And oh, this time you have to go and you have to be ready to give blood. And this time you have to fast. And this time it's across town. Who knew? So sometimes those appointments can be really daunting, and having a co-pilot on hand, or someone that can drive you and drop you off so you don't have to pay the exorbitant parking fees, can be a real help. It may also just be company. It may be daily chores. Let's face it, when you can barely get out of bed with a depressive episode, getting some clean pajamas might be really nice, but next to impossible. Having to go around the house, pick up after the kids or after yourself, after the husband or wife, and then have to sort them out into, laundry. Laundry can be really hard. You can tell that's one of my pet peeves, is the laundry. But it could even be getting the kitchen under control. Maybe you haven't done vacuuming for, nobody's going to lie here, it can be weeks, because it's the last thing that needs doing when everything else is such a mess. So having somebody on hand to help pitch in with a chore or two. Hey, maybe you'll make them hot chocolate and you'll both get something out of it. But just the offer can be life-saving. The other thing is that it could be that I don't need any support right now. It could be that I say, you know what, I'm okay for right now, but I'll keep you in rain check. Or, no, I'm good, but you want to go for a movie. That can be totally acceptable answers back. But just being given the offer of having support, knowing that you're not going to be judged for whatever support they give, that, again, life-saving. It makes all the difference. The third one, what is that like for you? It can very often seem like the question is always, how are you? And the answer has always got to be, I'm fine, thanks. And everybody is very comfortable that they have fulfilled the contract of human interaction, and no more is said, nothing any deeper is scratched. Well, asking me what is it actually like for me, that tells me that A, you don't presume to know. You're not going to presume to tell me, oh yeah, you know, when my dog died, I felt that way a lot, but you've really got to buck up. Go back to the video about the 5 dumbest things people say. But instead, you are going to listen and you're actually wanting to learn. That makes me feel good, being able to share my experience with you. It's not just the dreaded talking, which we've talked about people may or may not want to do. And, you know, come to this one, I may say like, nope, it's too much for me. But if you're asking me, what is that like for me? That opens it up for me to give you an uninterrupted answer that I have every reason to believe you actually want to hear. And to a person that hasn't dealt with mental health issues or mental illness in their life, or someone really close to them, it can seem like a person with mental illness is living on an alien planet. Someone who's never dealt with it or doesn't have much experience with it can't understand why you literally can't get out of bed and why brushing your teeth was too hard. Similarly, they don't understand why having an up mood, a la manic episode, isn't the best thing that ever happened to a person. People without any experience of mental illness, or at least experience that they know, have a really hard time understanding the symptoms and feelings of people with mental illness. But we can change that if we are actually wanting to ask the question and truly wanting to hear the answer. It does take, for those of us who have our stories to tell, to be courageous and tell them. Sometimes that seems dangerous. And so if you've asked a person and they're not wanting to divulge, don't take it to heart. It may just be that they're not sure where their story is going to go or how it's going to be taken. Building up trust over time is the best way to talk to one another, to learn from one another's experiences. So, what is that like for you? Charged question, equally charged answer. Are you gonna dare? I encourage you to. The fourth of our 5 most wonderful, sweetest things that people say is it takes a lot of strength and courage to live through what you're living. I melt every time. In fact, I'm almost melting at myself saying it. Because it does, damn it. It does take a lot of courage just to keep doing every day, and a lot of strength to put one foot in front of the other, even if that foot is still lying in bed for you. It does take a lot of courage and strength to live with mental illness and to journey into recovery with mental illness and to risk that you're going to go right back into mental illness again at some point in the future. All of it takes a lot of courage and a lot of strength. Sometimes I have trouble taking the compliment for what it is. I'll say, oh no, you know, everybody deals with stuff sometimes and I'm just like anybody else. But you know what? No, it does. And you know what else? It takes strength and courage to accompany somebody on a journey through mental illness. It takes courage and strength for all of us to live through mental health, let's face it. But when someone looks at me and can't maybe see the depths of what I'm going through, but can recognize my strength and courage, damn straight, it does take strength and courage. Thank you. And the fifth of our incredibly sweet things that people say is very related to the last one, but this one, I believe, deserves its own category. And that is, no, it's not okay. It's incredibly hard. And the reason that I think that deserves its own category is because that is in response to me always saying, no, it's okay. No, don't worry. No, it's fine. It's fine. I'm fine. It's okay. Because no, it's not okay. And sometimes I need to be reminded of that. I need to be reminded of living the life I'm living and owning the truth I'm living and being able to accept the empathy from another person who's willing to acknowledge, and often in front of others, that actually it's pretty hard. In fact, that's where I think it gets the most mention for it being a special category unto its own, is that this one often occurs in front of other people. Let's say the morning staff meeting, when I clearly don't feel okay, but I insist that no, it's okay, don't worry. And someone says, no, actually, it's hard. And I'm seen. And I'm heard. And I'm probably gonna blush and just kind of go, oh, but I will feel amazing inside. In fact, that one, to me, is just an epic mic drop. No, it's not okay. It's hard. So there's my top 5 in no particular order. You may disagree with me. In fact, I'd love it to hear it if you have any other entries for our top list. If you completely disagree, I'd like to hear about that too. Comments down below. Please be constructive and we will all learn from one another. Next time, we are going to delve into a little bit of a who am I and why am I talking to you video. So do stay tuned for that. That'll be up in the next week or so. And in the meantime, stay healthy, stay well, and if you're not still well, get well. So with that, that is today's stigma crushing, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.
Stigma Crusher.